Well, Amber, we're here to record a video about My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission.
Why were superhuman powers, the meta abilities known so casually as quirks, forced upon our kind? These quirks bring about nothing but tragedy. They are not a blessing on our world, but the beginning of its end. We Humorize must take action.
The class of 1A is back. Young Midoriya-kun, young Bakugo, and young Shota. They're back for another...
Sorry, I interrupted you.
They're back for another young adventure to stop the evil human rise against their anti-meta-human, quirkless powers. How many fan favorites will they cram on screen at the same time as quickly as possible? How much better is the animation in the movie compared to the TV show? How will young Midoriya-kun save the day? You gotta watch My Hero Academia World Police to find out. Well, Jay, did you like My Hero Academia World Police?
World Police?
Da 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 da. It's the one and only Digo Double G. Snoop Dogg.
World Heroes Mission.
Yes, World Heroes Mission.
Did you like it?
I did like it. But okay, so kind of like ranking the 3 My Hero Academia movies that have been out so far, I like this one second. So the second movie I liked the best, the first movie third. So this second.
That's interesting because I actually do not like the second movie. Mainly because I felt like the second movie had really bad animation through most of it. And I guess for a lot of these kind of like Shonen Jump movies, I don't have much expectation for them except that I want them to have better animation than TV show. That's kind of most of my expectations for it. And I felt like, especially like during kind of like the middle bits, I think the end was pretty well animated if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the middle bits was just it was kind of just like it looked like a TV show episode. And I think this third one has a couple of scenes that are like that, a couple of sequences I should say that are like that as well, but less.
There's a scene like where they're at near kind of a border town and there's a train that a lot of the art style gets very blocky and not as defined, whereas it's still a big action scene where they're fighting different kind of henchmen like characters. So you kind of expect it to be more defined, at least in that aspect, because this whole show was action. Like, there's very little just kind of downtime in the show or movie when it's all about superheroes.
Right. This movie kind of tried to... The main gimmick of this movie, as far as, like, the action goes, it has a lot of 3D tracking sequences. It has probably, like, 3 or 4 in the whole film, where characters running, and the camera's kind of following them and spinning around them. And the whole environment's animated, and it kind of does that thing where like the environment's a lot more simply animated. There's not like a lot of detail, but it's really fluid, so like it looks cool, and I appreciated that.
Well, especially like the opening scene where they're like diving in with their stealth suits out of airplanes and stuff like that. That's a really phenomenal opener.
Yeah, so I guess we should talk about the very basics, the plot. The plot revolves around the meta-human apocalypse theory that they mentioned in the actual show a couple times. Basically, the villains are people who are primarily quirkless. Primarily, they are people who with quirks that work with them that are basically racist against quirk people. They think that people who have quirks are tainted.
That they have a disease.
They're diseased, and they're going to eventually lead to the doomsday theory about... because kids are being born with more and more powerful quirks, and this might lead to a few generations down the line, kids that have the power to just blow up the world with a snap of a finger, and they won't know what they're doing because they're just kids.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea. It's a really cool idea as far as like the science fiction of the My Hero Academia world goes. It's not really that relevant to this movie because they're just like they're villains, and they have this really powerful like MacGuffin weapon where it's like a gas release, and if you have a quirk and you're breathing the gas, you basically go nuts. Your quirk mutates and you get like 10 times more powerful, but you can't control it. So because the population of the planet is 80% quarks. When they release that gas in a big city, the city basically just explodes, tears itself apart, and people like quirking up and just doing like mad stuff. And that's what they're trying to prevent. This terrorist organization or this evil cult has like these super quirk gases hidden all around the world. That's actually kind of a little bit of a spoiler. They thought it was in one place, and oh my god, it's all around the world.
It's not at headquarters, which isn't the actual headquarters.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the big disappointments I would say about this movie is it's called
World Heroes Mission.
World Heroes Mission, and kind of like the selling point is that the whole theater or the whole world is a theater for the action, right?
Yeah.
They have different teams split up, and it's actually they do this in the credits where they show you in the credits who's going to be where, which is was kind of hype for me. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. They paired up these, and of course they pair up like the coolest characters together with
So I don't know how up to date you are on the show or not, but most of the different teams are kind of split up along where the different students are doing their kind of work studies. Stuff. Yes, their internships. Yeah. So like Todoroki, Bakugo, and Midoriya are all with Endeavor because they're interning with Endeavor.
Yeah.
And Tokiyami is with Hawks because Tokiyami was interning with Hawks.
So are those pairings they showed in the movie pretty much exactly the same as they are in the storyline?
Pretty much, yeah. Like Uraraka and Asui are both with Ryukyu, the dragon.
The Dragon Lady. Yeah. Very popular on the internet, the Dragon Lady, if you catch my drift.
I'm all about Hawks and Bakugo and Aizawa. Although Aizawa is just for the voice actor because...
Wait.
Junichi Suwabe.
You raised your hand?
What?
You raised your hand?
Yeah.
Okay. Wasn't sure what his name was.
Listen, if Junichi Suwabe is in it, I'm interested. So... I could listen to him talk all day.
Okay. Well, the disappointment in the whole setup leads that like most of the action really just focuses in one location, and they just cut to these places all around the world, and not much happens there, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping to be some sort of like maybe like an elaborate plan where everybody has a role to play. And they're all like ready, set, go, and then everybody does everything at the same time. But no, it's kind of more haphazard, right? It's just like, oh no, we gotta do this,
Like keys in different parts of the world, where like if you don't flick this switch in France, then Otheon is doomed.
It's not that clever. So... Yeah, it's not that clever. It's just like, oh, we gotta find the bombs, run, do it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting though. Like at the very least, they show off the quirks and how everybody does things differently. The show is good about that. They try and show off the quirks in different ways and how different people and different teams might look for the bomb.
Each classmate gets at least one line. So.
And Uraraka gets multiple lines of the same line being like, Deku-kun! Yeah. That's all she does in the movie. It's just like, oh, Deku-kun! Like,
I won't give up! Because Deku would never give up!
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up because Uraraka's a really good character, but
they do give her a couple moments. There is a scene where she's like, "He would never do that," or there's another one where she's like using her quirk to float the bomb way up into the sky.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's the basic premise of the film, and I think we're just gonna talk about spoilers. If you care at all, just watch the movie or wait till it's all the theaters and on streaming devices. But if you don't care, like, and I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but honestly, like, it's a My Hero movie that there isn't much plot and much stuff to spoil. Watch it for the animation and for the fun character stuff. But yeah, so...
Screen candy.
Yeah, screen candy. Yeah, so... what I want to mention about the whole bomb sequence around the world, you really get to see which teams are really good and which teams aren't, because like Endeavor got his bomb and he was over. He's like he's ready to fly it out to the stratosphere and kill himself, but he's gonna save it. He's gonna save because he had enough power and he could do that. It cuts to the other people because so like it gets down to the wire and the bombs are all going to explode at the same time, but then one of the characters punches in the defuse code, the disarming sequence. And at like 3 milliseconds left on the timer, and they save the day basically. And at that point, it cuts to where all the bombs were.
As one would expect with a bomb movie.
Yeah.
Like Final Countdown. It
cuts to where all the bombs were, and only like 2 or 3 of them were actually saved. taking all of the city away from people. The rest of them, they're like, oh shit. Like, they're just standing next to the bomb, not knowing what to do. So I thought that was kind of funny.
And not knowing that there's more than one bomb.
Yeah.
Or, like, they're still fighting these different villains who are protecting the bombs.
Yeah. So I thought it was, at least that part's interesting and kind of realistic, I guess, that, you know, not everybody's going to be able to save the day in a situation like that. One thing I do like about this, I didn't mention in the synopsis, but there is a character called Roddy Soul. Rudy? Rhodey. Okay.
Rhodey Soul.
Rhodey Soul. And he's a typical character introduced in one of these kind of movies that you're never going to see him again. But usually it's a girl character. And usually it's like a love interest for the main character. This time it's like a bro.
They had a bromance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
especially with Pino like crying
yes.
at the end.
So one of the neat things about
This is Pino. So cute.
One of the neat things about I guess about My Hero Academia is that, like, Deku, the main character of the show, he's a big crier. He cries that you know, he's just a crier. He cries when he's scared, when he's happy, with catharsis. So like it's a show that it's okay with showing kind of like feelings and like that. You know,
like Tanjiro on Demon Slayer.
Yeah. So like the end of this movie just shows like these two kids kind of like hugging and crying, like goodbye.
Don't you dare come back, but
yeah.
I miss you.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cute. I guess we don't see that often. It's usually like a guy and a girl or whatever. They always do that in these movies where they make it like a relationship that you know it's not gonna matter.
Yeah.
And I guess they did it to here too, but at least it's between two boys.
Well, also like then they would try to pull off the whole like Uraraka jealousy angle and everything, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, and she wasn't even here to do that, so she didn't even get
France.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that the girls' team was like all in France, and I'm like, I feel like there's a reason
Very
behind
romantic.
that.
Very romantic.
Like Nejire, Rikyu, Tsuyu, and Uraraka all in France. There's a reason for that.
Well, where was Jiro?
Jiro was
one of the fake cities.
She was with Gang Orca on the skyscraper. I don't remember what city it was.
All right, so I guess we should talk about like the final action sequences, where Deku fights like the main villain, Fleckturn. Bakugo fights like these two twins with blade powers. They have like these extending blade things.
They were in here as I think their names were Serpentinos or Serpentine.
And who does Shoto fight? I don't remember who Shoto fights.
He goes up against this guy that had Leviathan. There he is. Yeah, Serpenters and Leviathans. For pictures.
You know, I can actually edit things into the video.
Well,
so
that's just convenient.
So
I'm showing that I looked at that book earlier today before this interview because I wanted to be prepared.
Prep. Yeah, I didn't actually prep, so. The fights they're okay. You know, like the fights that Bakugo and Shoto has, the fight with Deku and Fleckturn is a little bit better, even though it's kind of like just a rehash of when All Might fought the Domo. What's the big Nomu? So the Nomu was just like that genetically altered thing. It used to like negate any force, so it could take a punch from All Might and it just like dissipate the force and resist the force.
Well, this is a little bit different with Fleckturn because like his quirk is reflecting, and so everything that Deku throws at him, he throws back until he can't throw back anymore.
And it looks kind of cool because every single time Deku hits him, some sort of black mass appears on the opposite end of Fleckturn, the villain. Yeah. So you could kind of visually see how much force Deku just put into him, and it comes back and just launches Deku. And it kind of leads to the same kind of like plus ultra, like, oh, guess what? I'm just gonna hit you so hard, you can't reflect it.
Exactly. There's a limit to your reflecting ability.
And that's pretty much the exact same thing he did with the Nomu. But with the Nomu, it was with All Might. And All Might has like that cool speech where he's like, haven't you heard, villains? Heroes always go beyond, or something. You know, he just says like some All Might shit. And then he just launches him.
Which reminds me, very little All Might scenes in this movie, which is very surprising.
Surprising.
He was like I don't know. Was he even in the second movie for more than like a minute?
I don't remember. I hate the second movie so much I blocked it
Oh,
out. I don't.
rough.
No, it's not that bad. I just don't remember.
Well, for like the Serpentino guys that we were talking about before that Bakugo was fighting, I was on the edge of my seat. Like as soon as I saw, not just because I love Bakugo, but because like there's this huge chunk of blood that comes flying out of him, and you see like half of his mask thrown on the ground, and I'm like, what did you do to baby? Like, terrifying. It's the same level of terror that volume 29 of the books left me on, so...
What happened to 29?
Volume 29?
Yeah, volume 29.
I mean, I think Bakugo might be in a lot of pain right now, potentially dying.
Okay. I haven't heard about that, but I'm sure he'll be okay.
He better. But if he dies, I guess it's just all on Hawks then, so... Which Hawks had, like, a few lines in this movie, and had quite a few in the second movie, too. And I think, like, at the point where the show is at now is catching up to, like, some really cool stuff that happens in the book with the, like, meta liberation front, and, like, Hawks has a huge role in that, and so I'm really excited about all that.
Oh, I was going to mention, I honestly don't remember what Shoto did in this movie. Like
Very little.
Shoto was kind of with the main three team, but, like, he was kind of overshadowed. He didn't do much.
No, and, well, like, and his fight was really, like, minimalized, too. Like, hey, let's just sit underwater and not be able to do anything until the last second when I need to do something, and then, boom, there's the answer.
Okay. I do remember him being underwater now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being underwater.
But, like, he was underwater for a long time. He should have been, like, drowning or maybe making himself, like, a little ice breathing thing somehow. I don't know, but...
You can make, like, a snorkel,
I
like a
get
snorkel up to the surface. You know.
Well, like, I get that Leviathan, like, adapts any of the matter that... Like, I think that's what his quirk was, is that he just... Because they didn't really specify that he can just kind of transform any matter that comes at him or something. But even if that's the case, like, with the big waterfall freeze kind of thing that happened, like, that should have been easy to mess with, too, then.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how you would have stopped that quirk.
He waited until the waterfall, I remember now.
Yeah.
So he just waited until he got lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but, I mean, I did think it was really... They did show some good moments for Todoroki where he could, like, the scene that was unfortunately poorly animated where he was, like, rushing in to save Deku at the border town, and also where he, like, knew exactly how to get to him, like, following him on the train, knew how to make it so they can't track your phone. Like, those were good, like, yeah, Shoto is really smart, so he's using his brain here.
Yeah.
One thing I really want to emphasize, and we kind of, like, casually talked about it before we started filming, but I was really disappointed, like, on here, even on this picture, and in all of the promotional pictures for the movie, they hyped these stealth suits. They got me so excited, because, like, at least Shoto's, like, it looks straight out of Fire Force, and I love Fire Force too, and so I'm like, yes, all these stealth suits are amazing. And they were amazing for the 5 minutes of the movie that they were. Like...
Yeah, the grand majority of the movie is actually Deku on the run from the law.
Yeah.
Because he's framed...
by corrupt police.
By corrupt police, because the police are working with Human Rise, the evil terrorist cult, whatever. So they accuse Deku of, like, murdering 12 people or something like that, right? Which is, like, so nutty.
Which is where Rock is like, he could never!
Yeah, it's, like, it's really funny. Like, they could have easily, like, in the superhero business is rough. They could have easily said, oh, Deku, I accidentally threw a car on somebody, killed one person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have been like, oh my god, did Deku really make that mistake?
Yeah.
That would have been...
Which is where, like, the hero insurance and licenses and all that comes in. Yeah. Although, not in another country, apparently. That was, like, a cool lore thing that came up, so...
Yeah, Deku's actually off uniform, and not even school uniform. Most of the time, he's wearing, like, civvies, trying to like duck the law.
Bucket hat.
Yeah, hanging out with Rhodey Soul.
Yeah. Rhodey Soul.
I remember all the names. I don't. I guess we just talk about more Rhodey Souls. He, as far as, like, original film character goes, he's pretty entertaining. He has a sob story like most people do in these type of shows and movies.
His quirk is cute, though.
it's funny because they do set it up as like a useless quirk. And I'm like, oh, I bet it's not gonna be useless, but it was useless, you know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, his quirk is the one that saved the world, so.
Yeah, I guess because his quirk, by the way, is a bird. Basically, his body manifests a bird, and the bird always reflects his real feelings and what he
Yes.
really wants.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a delinquent, kind of like dastardly, roguish kind of guy. He's always doing deals, always trying to kind of steal stuff, get ahead.
Or whatever he can to provide for his younger siblings.
Yeah, he's a sympathetic character, but he breaks the law all the time. So he's always kind of like acting tough. But if you look at the bird knows like what's up. The bird always is showing what's up with Rhodey. So there's a scene in the movie where Rhodey says, "I'll tell you my quirk, but it's kind of terrible. Please don't laugh." Then they cut. They don't really tell you what it is. So like, oh, that's gonna play into the end. It's gonna be actually super. It's gonna be super major, and it was super major, but it was actually a useless quirk. I was expecting something different, like something like a sleight of hand or something like.
Yeah.
I could steal from any pickpocket or something like that.
I thought that when like it showed him like doing this like little flip, like measure when he was about to hand over the code breaker to Fleck Turn, and then he was like psych and like did this really cool flip thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, he's just cool. And then they started like reiterating that conversation he had with Deku in like an over voice narration, like, oh, what's your quirk? Oh, you promise not to laugh? And like over and over until it gets to the point where he's like collapsing on the ground, and then he wants to get that code breaker there so bad that Pino delivers. So
yeah, and it was really funny, but I guess not funny, sad. When the movie tries to lead you to believe that Rhodey is dying, it shows Pino and he just kind of starts like disintegrating, disappearing, dissolving
like
away.
fading.
Yeah, fading away. That's the word I was looking for. And I was like, oh god, he's just gonna kill that bird by dying himself.
Yeah.
But I guess he comes back to life and the bird just comes back. Like,
what did you think of that like rehash from the second movie where Deku kind of took on that like DBZ-esque level of
you mean
One for All?
when he's like goes like blah, and he's kind of like splits.
His hair spikes up and glows like
Yeah.
just like it did in the second movie.
Actually, I think that that scene is going to be very memeable in the future whenever people have high quality gifs of it, because Deku basically starts shadowboxing, or just not even shadowboxing. He just like plants his feet and starts like doing like machine gun punches in midair. He's not really attacking the guy directly yet. And then it just looks, it's really well animated, but it looks really funny. And then they even split him apart. Like he's going so fast, his essence starts to split apart. And you see multiple Dekus doing like a million ora punches. And then that's when he plus ultras and breaks the guy's reflect ability. But yeah, I mean like that stuff was all great, but I still liked it better when the show did it originally with All Might. That was like very hype. Here I was like, okay, yeah, that looked really nice, looked really cool. But I was like,
well, I wonder if it's gonna like keep coming up as Deku gets more like confident and unlocks more abilities within One for All. Because right now he still only has 2 of the One for All users. There's a whole bunch more to unlock.
I think in the manga doesn't he have 3 so far?
I think it's just 2. Oh wait, no, there is a third one now.
Yeah.
It's the one where he's float, like he can float.
Levitation, yeah.
So.
Flying or levitation, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's called float.
I haven't read it. I've only heard about it. No. I'm not caught up,
Read it.
but I've heard all the spoilers, so I don't mind. I had a moment when I knew I was going to watch this film with Amber. I said, damn, am I going to catch up on 2 seasons of the anime to watch this? And I said, nah.
I told him
fuck
to,
it.
and then he didn't.
No, because I did that with Demon Slayer. I hadn't watched any... Well, I saw the first episode of Demon Slayer, and I read the beginning of the manga.
Oh, when we went to go see Mugen Train?
Yeah. So when we had a ticket to go see Mugen Train, I said, all right, let me do this. And I caught up on Demon Slayer in about a week. And I did it with my friend Cross. We both watched it.
Well, Mugen Train was just like volumes like 7 through 9 of the manga, I think maybe. It was just like a really short snippet, and then, but unlike the My Hero Academia movies where it's like a side little piece, like you know where it takes place in the show because there's an end scene in one of the episodes where they show Fleck turn and there's like a one-liner or whatever where you can hear his voice and everything. So that's how I knew going in, I'm like, oh, the guy who voices Zoro Nobi, sold. But so like they did the same thing with the first movie. I don't remember on the second one, but the first one there's like a one little liner offshoot scene late in an episode where it's like, hey, you want to go to this island fair thing with me, Midoriya, like from All Might? And he's like, sure, let's pack a bag and go. And like that's the first movie.
Okay, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's like a little throw-in scene. So that was in, I think it was last season of the show, or maybe it was this one. But that's where it like tied in there. I forgot the other part I was saying though. I lost it. Where I was.
You started saying something because I was saying something. What was I saying?
Yes.
I wasn't caught up. Oh, Demon
Mugen
Slayer.
Train.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So unlike the My Hero Academia movies, like the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie is part of the continuity. Like you have to watch it to watch season 2 to know what was going on and where the flame Hashira is gone now. Like Rengoku, like you need to know. Mugen Train spoilers. You need to like know what happened to him to watch season 2 because like that's part of the story. Whereas opposed to My Hero Academia or the One Piece or the Naruto movies, like they're all off on side stories.
That's why I didn't even bother catching up. I had the thought like, oh, should I watch it? I would have said no. Like, fuck
you don't have to. I mean, you should absolutely watch it and read it, but you don't have to for the movie. Demon Slayer, absolutely.
So Amber, that was our conversation on My Hero Academia World Police.
World
Heroes
Mission.
And World Heroes Mission.
And humorize. You keep saying human rise.
Wait, humorize?
Humorize.
Like humorous?
No, like human, but without the N.
Humorize. Humorize.
Not humor, like laughing. Humor.
Okay, I'll take your... You're really good about learning these names. That ain't me.
Listen, earlier I was like, what was the name of that? I had to like look up Barros's name in this book because I wanted to talk about how awesome she was.
Yeah, we didn't talk about some of like the side characters. They don't make it too far past the like I guess you could say the second act.
Well, Barros is in it a lot more than a lot of Class 1A, so she's a major character in terms of the movie.
She's one of the quirk people who's working with these anti-quirk people.
Yes,
for the reason
with humorize.
Yes. For that reason, she believes in their crusade or whatever.
Yeah. So Barros, a really cool person, she takes her fingers and can transform it into a longbow. She cannot, unfortunately, create the ammunition for it. Like she can't create the arrows. She can just make the bow. So at one point, like she runs out of arrows, and then she's like, "Well, that's it. I'm a failure to humorize. Time to die." And just commit suicide because she's failed in her mission like 2 or 3 times.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
She was a cool character. I got her.
Yeah.
I was like, why do you gotta support bad Zoro?
Yeah, she looked cool. She was definitely a cool design. I assume most of these characters were designed by actual manga.
Yeah, I think so. They have some of his like original sketches in that book. It's really cool.
Okay, yeah, like most of the characters look cool. I always think Horikoshi's, that is his name.
Yeah,
right?
Kohei Horikoshi.
Horikoshi's big characters look dumb. Yeah. I think like his big monster hulkish characters like they look stupid.
You don't like Gang Orca or Fat Gum?
Orca's alright because Orca's kind of cool because he has like a gangster kind of look and people think he's a villain.
Yeah.
So I kind of like Orca, but like the muscle guy, I'm talking about. Remember when Deku fought the muscle guy? No, I'm not a fan of that guy.
Well, Gang Orca is actually like a recycled character from a series that didn't succeed of his before.
Yeah, I think I heard that, and so is Deku.
But what about Fat Gum? Like he's really cool and lovable.
Fat Gum is on my shit list because he's one of those shonen characters who's like, I'm big and fat. But that's my disguise. I'm actually like hot and skinny.
Did you see his like skinny form?
I think so. Yeah.
It's intense. Like muscles out the wazoo.
I know. That's what I mean. like him and the Choji from Naruto. Like
Yeah, well,
when they
I
power
like
up,
Choji.
they become like skinny.
Yeah.
Why don't they become
Yeah.
fatter when they power
Well,
up?
they do rag on them a lot. Although I don't see them really like. They do like rag on Choji and his daughter Chosho's weight a lot in Naruto and Boruto, but for Factum they don't really pick on his weight. Like they see that it's his power, and they like have this really cute scene with him and Amakiji in the show where like they're getting takoyaki together because like it'll help both of their quirks at the same time.
Oh yeah.
So and Kirishima's like, oh, let's get some food. Like, why not?
Yeah, no, I don't trust those big power boys that get skinny.
That's fair.
Not a good message for the kids.
That's fair. That's valid.
I love you just the way you are. Out there in Manga land.
I will say, on that same note, though, like, how they choose to represent women also makes a big difference. Like, I thought it was really cool that for Barros' character, they showed, like, she had Archer's muscly arms.
No,
like,
yeah,
she was built, and, like, usually they don't do that for the female characters. They're like, oh, let's make her as bussy as possible and thin as possible.
Horikoshi's actually pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Like, he has different, like, girl types, and like, a lot
There's
of
variety.
a lot of, like, the girls that... I guess this is a double-edged coin or edge or sword or whatever.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of the 1A classroom in bikinis and stuff, and they don't have like ideal beach bods or whatever. So it's like he's okay with drawing kind of like young women, just like women. It's not like you're not like your best friend Oda.
Where everybody looks like Nami.
Age or Oda's where everybody's the Barbie stick figure round boob thing.
Yeah.
They didn't always used to be that way.
Well, and like it gets to a point though, like because okay, so his wife was a Nami cosplayer.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and so after they got married, it seemed like almost like most female characters that were like good female characters, not like villains or whatever, had that same facial drawing as Nami. Like Yamato, who is in the series now, like they have Nami's face, but very Kaido style.
He can't cheat on his wife, so he just has to put his wife everywhere.
Just keeps putting his wife everywhere.
I tried to wrap up the video like 10 minutes ago.
I know.
But we kept on going.
This is what happens. I love talking about this, and I don't get a lot of nerd outfits. So.
Well, this was pretty fun, just sitting down and talking about a thing we just watched a couple days ago.
Yeah.
A day ago?
A couple days ago.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
And today is Halloween.
Halloween.
So we might try and do this again if you're okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with doing this whenever we go see shows. So we got Castle in the Sky next.
I don't know if I might watch that. If you're going to go, I guess I have to go.
I mean, it's up to you. It's gonna be an initial reaction to me. I haven't seen Castle in the Sky.
You hadn't seen Halloween Castle. We
I
didn't make a video on Halloween Castle.
Let me tell you, Howl is green candy. So
yes.
I get a lot of posts in my feed now about Howl's Moving Castle, and I'm here for it. So
yeah, you started adding me on a couple of them, or one of them at least.
It was a really pretty fan art.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then neither of you responded.
So our recommendation for My Hero Academia World Heroes End Mission. I guess it's kind of cheating, but it's one of those depends kind of recommendation. Yeah, it's good as long as you know what you're getting into. It's a typical Shonen Jump movie. It's very consequenceless, not canon. But I like this more than the second one. So there you have it. Yo Checku. Do you want to have a sign out?
Happy Halloween! Manga is literature too.
Book I know because we have this cool little mini comic and promotional booklet that they gave us in the movie. I think the lady didn't want to give me mine because I was old.
What?
She kind of had it hidden in a cabinet, and she kind of like looked at me and said, "Do you want a booklet?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I want a booklet."
Do you?
And then she opened it up and gave me one. So.